Welcome to the Pirate Broadcast, where we interview interesting people doing interesting things, where you can expand your connections, your community. Kindness is cool and smiles are free. And let's get this party started. Good morning. Another Pirate Broadcast, and I'm here with a blushing bride, Loren. She just got married and she's showing up at the Pirate Broadcast. That's a pirate. Hats off to you. Loren, welcome for being here on the Pirate Broadcast. How are you today?
Good morning, and thank you so much, Russ. I'm so happy to be inaugurated as a pirate this morning.
Oh, fantastic. And thank you so much for being here. And
Of course.
you know, we were talking before the show and we wanted to kind of explore some of the ideas that you're working on right now. The Portfolio Rocket was something that you started out of wanting to help others. Explain how you kind of developed this system you have and the backstory to give us a little context today.
Sure, happy to. And good morning, everybody out there in Pirate Land or soon to be one. So Portfolio Rocket is a system that I created out of years and years of watching the process of job seeking. For the past 10 years prior to starting this, I had been on the recruiting side of life and working in executive search and all of that good stuff. And I love those days. So this is no ding on anybody that's doing this, or, you know, I love recruiters and they can be your best friends in a job search. But you can't expect them to do everything. They're not here to kind of make everything okay. You have a responsibility as a job seeker. And I specifically work with senior level creatives and marketers who for more than 30 years had been speaking to and learning about insofar as how they are able to clearly, concisely, impactfully influence their own outcomes as it relates to their next ideal career move. And unfortunately, they are so skilled and adept at marketing everybody else's product, whether it's Apple or Google or Amazon this or Square that. But when it comes to themselves, it's a whole nother ball game. And the Portfolio Rocket system is a repeatable and consistent system that enables them to make it through the labyrinth of that job search process in the most efficient and effective manner. And so,
you know, it's amazing that you say that, because I have been guilty of the same thing. Even, you know, as an independent contractor and someone that owns their own business and been an entrepreneur and everything in between, I often feel, you know, I get this sense that, okay, if I do good work, people will show up. It's like if I put my LinkedIn profile out there, you know, people will show up. And there's a lot more to it. There's a lot of details that need to go into it. So what are the highlights that someone might want to start thinking about or reach out to you for? You know, what's an indicator that, okay, I'm not doing everything I can, or I need to do something different? What are some things that people typically talk to you about?
Sure. So I like what you said, and I'll just piggyback on that. You know, great people don't always land in great jobs, but great job seekers have a much greater chance. So they're not always apples to apples. And the primary thing that job seekers need to understand, they need to be able to clearly articulate this, is what problems do you solve for those companies? Yeah. So any company that is going to be interested in you is going to want to know, okay, so how did you transform past businesses, and where might that transformation be most effective going forward? What have you actually done to change, you know, build a revenue stream, or change an efficiency flow, or build some kind of brand awareness that we never even identified? So it's really about your instrumental impact from what you've previously done, and how that can translate and transfer over into the next opportunity.
There's a lot of people that don't even recognize the value of transferable skills.
Mm.
I'll give you an example of, a friend of mine in Houston. He's teaching military individuals, that people have just exited the military, on technology and certain technologies. And, so those skills are very transferable. A lot of the language in the military is different than civilian life. So it's just a matter of aligning that language, that naming convention of whatever they're working on, and allowing that to be present and transfer into civilian life. And I think that goes along with job to job, because I've had photographers that I've converted into IT people, into web developers, and, over my career. And it's really interesting when you can see it, but they don't see it. Why is that?
We're in the jam jar.
The pickle doesn't read the label, right?
You're stuck. You don't even know what berry you are. You're just smushed in there with all this stuff. It sounds like it would be really easy. And most of the folks that I work with say, God, I can't believe that I can't see this. I can't get that. But we all have our own blind spots. So it doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with you. In fact, it means that you're doing it right if you can't see it, because it's probably so innate to what it is that you do and what it is that you own that it's impossible. It's like telling somebody go pretend you have brown eyes when you already have them. It's like, I know that, it's just embedded into who you are.
Yeah, it's crazy. And it's so true. So what are some things that you're seeing in the industry? I know 2020 is like a crazy year. You decided to get married. It's like add some romance to the world. It's like, congratulations. I just want to
thank you so much.
I just think it's so exciting, and thank you so much for being here as well. It's like, and I know that this is not what we would normally see. And so has that changed how you're doing your Portfolio Rocket business, or how has it evolved for you personally?
So I started this about 2 weeks before the pandemic. So this was happening no matter what, as far as I was concerned.
Right.
And I think what's been amplified is needs for things like resilience and consistency. I think that a lot of those terms are kind of thrown around, and in some ways they've become a little bit on the generic side. Mm-hmm. But this is a time for everyone to man up, muscle up, and recognize, your current situation isn't your final destination. This is not forever. Everything will change. I can't tell you when, and I can't tell you how. But the most important thing is that you stay consistent with whatever those deliberate actions are. Because once you stop that cycle, it's not only harder to get back on, but the exponential and incremental growth is shunted. It like doesn't have kind of the momentum to keep on going. And I often say, hang around for the miracle. You don't even know what's around the corner, and I'll have somebody going down this path, and then they're like, you wouldn't believe what happened. And I'll say that's because you did not take your foot off the gas.
Yeah.
Good things happen when you are in action and thinking about things. Oh, I need to think about it. I need to think about it. I'm not really a big fan of that. And so I'm more of the mind that, things happen and the thinking will happen clearer when you are moving forward in whatever that ascribed action can be.
Yeah. It's sometimes the work gets done when you do the work.
Yeah.
There's no other way. It's like, and I love the idea of this, something in motion continues to stay in motion, and consistency day after day is something that's really important for people to understand. It's like, okay, you can actually improve your skill versus binging on Netflix. You can improve your impact by going out there and doing the work. Like you're saying, just showing up on LinkedIn may not necessarily, that's not the end of the road. That's the beginning of the road,
Exactly.
and continue to reach out, make those connections, make those conversations take place. Invest in the time to initiate those conversations.
100%. I mean, I use this this example all the time because I think it's such a truism for all of us. If I think about working out, I'll never feel better because I'll just live in the procrastination. When I get to that workout, I never say to myself, wow, that hour, dang, that was a waste of time. I feel worse. It never fails. And when I push myself to do it, even when I don't think I want to, it changes everything. And I feel like a rock star, like, oh my God, I did a workout, yay, and there's a sense of self-respect and dignity. And you need that as a job seeker. You really do. You need to know I built that equity, and that equity, can compound. And that's what we want. We want to build a pattern of compound equity or momentum, or small wins.
Small wins make a big difference, huge difference. And I think that's a little slice of being resilient, recognizing that the lows are not permanent and the highs are not always going to be there, and just recognizing that continued effort will continue to make a difference. And I really appreciate what you're doing, and thank you for sharing this today. There's a few people in the room that you probably know. I just want to say Angie's here, Ola Pirates, Nick Gimel. And just by the way, everyone, if you are not connected to Loren, you probably want to be connected to Loren, because you never know when you need a portfolio rocket in your pocket. So I'm just going to say that.
Absolutely.
So now here, Kevin's a pirate. He's been here. He's great to be here, Loren. So, hey, Kenneth Lang. Kenneth is in here. Want to be a pirate.
Yes. Make this man a pirate.
Make this man a pirate. Let's connect. Russ and Leah Hedge in the house. Oh, Jeff Young. Fantastic. Sorry I'm late. Good morning, Russ and Loren. And then we got Jesse Roberts. I'm late. Thanks. It's okay.
You're here. That's
just by the way, you can always find the podcast, the repeats, everything at russjohns.com, and it's out there on the web forever. So I want to talk a little bit about you came up through the recruiting process, and now you're helping people see their secret sauce, their magic dust, and the value that they bring, the gifts. And I believe that everybody has a gift and a message to share. And so what do you see on the roadmap going forward as you've been the last few months, the last several months, and it's been building up, and there's a direction you're headed. Where do you see that direction going for you, Loren?
Are you speaking specifically about Portfolio Rocket, or are you just talking?
Yeah, let's talk about Portfolio Rocket. Then we'll venture off on another platform.
Sure. So, part of what I see right now is there are still so many people who are on the search. We are not in the clear. It is still a very, very high unemployment market right now. And what I tell a lot of my clients or anybody that I'm speaking with is that right now, as competitive as the market is, because it is still highly competitive, what's really been happening just from a supply and demand point of view is that up until the pandemic, we were in a very low unemployment level. And candidates really had the upper hand, meaning that most of the candidates that I ever saw would say things like, to me, like, I have 2 or 3 offers here and there, and I don't know which one, is really the best for me. And now the employer has a little bit more of the upper hand. That doesn't mean that people aren't negotiating multiple offers, and it doesn't mean that you won't have lots of choices. And that's really what I think is, of course, the ideal situation, is to be able to pick and choose. But being in a competitive marketplace means you really don't have a lot of leeway in terms of finalizing and being really clear and concise about what it is and what you do and even what you want. That doesn't mean that everybody has like a clear path. That's why it's important to develop one. And it can flex here and there throughout the way. So it's not like it's carved in stone. I get a lot of people, well, I really don't know what I want to do, so I really shouldn't start yet. All roads lead to home.
Yeah.
So get on a road and it will reveal itself. So don't sit back and pretend like it's going to, show up by virtue of, divine intervention or anything like that, because chances are that those two things need to work together, and it will, eventually, especially as I mentioned before, with consistent action. But what I want to talk about also is in the near term. We're talking now, December, January. It is very likely that a lot of people are going to start checking out. Right. So it's going to be Thanksgiving next week. And I think the normal mentality is, I should, just kind of, downshift on my efforts and take the time off, which I'm not saying don't enjoy your family and don't enjoy the holiday. Of course not. What I am saying is people will still be hiring. And we know that because, just historically, the marketplace has a tendency to, the barriers tend to get a lot lower because most people are checking out. And so you have an opportunity to really be, more visible because the traffic can be lower on LinkedIn. And so you want to take advantage of that time, especially as January is coming around the corner and companies are apt to be upping their hiring budget. So that's super important, is, so don't take your eye off the prize now. Like,
zig when they zag.
Exactly. And then, I think that the other thing that I am really learning more and more and more and more, which just makes total sense, is, make a concerted effort to really build referrals, especially where there are employers that have very strong referral programs. Referral programs are becoming, the most valued way that everyone can win, because it is literally about a quarter of the cost to an employer to pay somebody out. And I mean, I kudos to Kevin Turner. He told me that he literally was at a place where he was getting about $10,000 per referral, and they had to change the program because he was going to break their bank. So those things are real. And, if you are serious about a company, find out if they have one and find out who can refer you, because that person's going to win. The company is going to win, because even forget even about the cost for acquiring that candidate. The likelihood that they're going to stay longer is doubled, and the likelihood that they will be happier is also dramatically increased. So it's just a wonderful, wonderful win-win.
Where my head went to was, man, you can find a couple of companies that pay referrals, and that could be a side hustle. That'd be a great side hustle if you're a great connector.
Totally.
That's how my head works. I just really find it fascinating that most. I'm trying to think back. probably throughout my career, I don't think I've ever, I'm cataloging this. Every job I've ever had has been through a referral, not a referral, but relationship. And so I encourage people that are searching or thinking about searching for a job is build relationships with the people that you can actually have a conversation with about the company, about the organization or the industry. And I just found that that's always been productive for me personally. And I don't know if that's an industry, something that you teach in your.
Yeah, I actually in the latter part, when people start to have their offers coming in and things like that, I there's a phase that I call sniff testing.
Mm.
And sniff testing is essentially, are these people who they say they really are? Like, let's figure out what we can understand beyond the niceties and the best behaviors. If they're not on their best behavior during the interview process, then there's a real problem. But if everything seems really to be moving along well, and it seems like a company that you want to be interested in, do a little bit more digging and speak to the people that are working at the company and ask them, what is a day in the life like with so-and-so and so-and-so? And I run into this all the time, especially with folks who are really passionate about diversity or purpose-driven or mission-driven companies.
Uh-huh.
It's not enough to put it on your website and to, tout it as a poster or any kind of lip service. Find out what's actually been done recently. So you can always benchmark it against COVID. During COVID, tell me about the missions that the company has actually pushed forward, or tell me about some of the diversity efforts that have launched. Not the rhetoric, because
not the marketing spin. Yeah. So are there any industries that you're seeing that are really, if you listen to the news, nobody's doing anything and everything's shut down, and, it's just like the sky is falling, right? Don't watch the news. Just don't do it. However, I know that there are industries that are still growing. They're still thriving. They're still expanding. They're still hiring. Are there any specific areas that we should be thinking about or considering if you're looking for work or
so it's important to keep your eyes and ears open, and I don't mean get mired in the negativity, but clearly, anything healthcare related, telehealth, digital health, health tech, ed tech, is off the charts. I mean, who isn't doing some kind of online learning? So that's pretty obvious. And if you look around, I have a client who became a hiring manager for an ed tech startup, and how that all started was she was frustrated watching all the modules that her elementary school child was going through and finding all these flaws. And she literally started posting about all these things that she was noticing, and here's an improvement, and here's a way to solve this, and literally got found by an organization as an ed tech expert, where she had virtually no experience doing that, but she had enough understanding of user experience to understand how it could be improved. And like I said, now she's a hiring manager nationally. So, keep your eyes and ears open for things that are happening. Clearly, the restaurant and the hospitality industries are struggling, but that customer service transferable knowledge is being applied in so many other places. Mm-hmm. I have a new client who just came in from Marriott, and his operations background, his marketing know-how, and the way that he has learned about every single customer touch point and how to create a positive experience from end to end is going to translate in so many other places. So, just because your industry may be taking a dip doesn't mean it can't be applied in other places where that need is in high demand.
Well, I always believe that a little bit of courtesy, a little empathy, A little bit of, customer service goes a long way in any industry. I mean, from the front door to the loading dock, everything and everyone can contribute to the customer service experience. And it cannot be emphasized enough.
And there are so many bad ones. So if you put it, there are so many bad ones, those are also great opportunities, assuming that there are people that want to change it to bring that forward.
Yeah. So now that you're married and you're moving forward and you got all these things going on, so what's in the future for Loren? What are you excited about? What brings you joy every day?
What brings me joy and my why is pretty strong and solid. My why is really to have people working, specifically senior level creatives and marketers. I believe like no other that they are the greatest leaders and the greatest transformers of business. And so creating more leaders, that doesn't apply to your title. It applies to your impact. So, creating and helping those folks become even more instrumental in business, having the ability to verbalize and demonstrate how they are able to change it. And the best part of all is that they're hungry to do it. Yeah. It's not that they don't want to. It's almost like a horse that's sitting in a gate and they just need to know which track to take. And once you lift that gate, they're like off. And that's a beautiful thing. And that brings me just infinite amount of joy. And I want to see people working not just for the paycheck, because I believe, and I know for myself, that when you're working, everything is better. And your relationships are better at home. You feel better about yourself. You have more to give and more purpose to really share. And that's fulfilling. That's rewarding and brings smiles to people's lives, that they have even a routine and a consistent thing to do each and every day to make life worthwhile.
That's fantastic. It's really gratifying to know that there are people out there like yourself helping so many others in the industry. And I know there are a lot of people, LinkedIn is a huge community for people helping people, business owners helping business owners, and a lot of relationship building opportunities out there. And so any last minute tips, legacy advice or anything that you want to share with people searching for or considering even looking for a job, or transferring what they're doing right now into something else?
As far as LinkedIn goes, I find that a lot of people just don't know how to get over that hurdle of connecting with somebody that they don't know, right? And there is another piece called networking with strangers that I have in my module, because we're like, ooh, that's so weird. Why would I do that? And that's of course how we met and how I met all these other wonderful people that are on your show. But the point is that lurking, limit the lurk, right?
Limit the lurk. Yeah.
Spend as little time as you can just going out there and checking it out. It's okay to dip your toe in and see what somebody's doing and interact here and there, but pull the trigger at some point and be brave. It is not going to fall on deaf ears. And even if it does, next, there's always another one. So don't get hung up on anything that, didn't work out, and just keep going and moving forward. Connect with so many wonderful people. It is such a generous and welcoming platform. And I can tell you that it has been so fulfilling. I do feel like I have LinkedIn family. And that's a beautiful thing.
I love the idea of making new connections. And I, part of the reason I started the Pirate Broadcast was because I wanted to highlight the people, the individuals that wouldn't necessarily be seen by someone else, because you get in the lane and all of a sudden you're in that lane, unless you start venturing out and meet somebody else. And start seeing a new community, it's you just have to kind of shake it up a little bit. And so if I can share you with another community, that'd be fantastic. That's a win for me. So it's great news.
It is. It's wonderful.
And I have friends all over the world as a result of LinkedIn. So it's just amazing. It's just amazing. And I encourage everyone to take the time and the effort, connect with Loren, go check out what she's doing, why she's doing it, make the connection, make the comments, interact, ask questions. It's a simple process, and just consistency every day makes a huge difference. In a matter of a short period of time, you can make a huge difference.
Huge, for sure.
Yeah. So, well, thank you so much for being here, Loren. I really appreciate you. Congratulations.
I feel like I have an eye patch.
Yes, I got an eye patch right over here with your name on it. So real connect and real stay connected. And as a follow-up, everyone, I am really working hard to share more content out, more information, and build this community to where it benefits everyone. So subscribe to the YouTube channel, help me grow that. The podcast is out there. The live stream is a replay on russjohns.com. So connect, engage, have a conversation, start a conversation today, and make a difference. Make it matter, because kindness is cool, smiles are free, and you enjoy the day. Don't go away. Thank you for joining the Pirate Broadcast. If you found this content valuable, please like, comment, and share it across your social media channels. I would love the opportunity to help others grow in their business. The Pirate Syndicate is a platform where you show up, we produce the show. It's that easy. If you want to be seen, be heard, and be talked about, join the Pirate Syndicate today.